So, Becca, you've been doing a lot of homesteading stuff lately. Tell me about it.
Tell you about the bread, the meat, the
Yes.
bread,
Yeah, the
the
homesteading.
butter, the jam. So you know what I learned today
What's up?
about the homesteading? The biggest thing, whether you make it or break it in homesteading, is time management.
Hmm.
I was watching some experienced homesteaders, different channels. All of them said the same thing. They were like, it doesn't start with learning how to make bread jam, having animals on your land, and you don't need to have 5 acres. You don't need to have 10 acres. And they were like, if you don't know how to time management, it's all gonna go to waste.
Hmm.
Because what's
Okay.
gonna happen is you're gonna get overwhelmed. You might set up too much to be able to handle, like depending on the payload of it. Are you doing it by yourself? Do you have a team behind you? And uh apparently people who try homesteading without like a solid game plan and they're just like hopes and dreams. A lot of them fail because they don't realize how much time has to actually go into keeping up with your crops and maintaining everything.
Yeah.
Um, so time management is huge, and I know I'm going to struggle with the crops. I've always sucked at plant growth.
Not always.
I mean, we had that hydroponic thing that your mom gave
And
us
they survived.
until my mom killed them because I went on vacation with you.
But you made it survive.
Well, technically, my mom didn't kill them. The cats
I
did.
would say it wasn't the cats.
It was
Yeah.
the cats, Catmageddon, and then and I think it only survived though because I could leave it alone. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's constantly cycling water and the nutrients in the water you add to it, so it was low maintenance essentially.
Yeah. Fire and forget. You just set it up and
Keep it
then
plugged
it's good.
in,
Yeah.
and like these things were booming with. And you remember I had the herbs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but throughout my gardening life, I have killed more plants than survived most plants that I've had. So I know we had grown potatoes, onions, garlic, carrots, um, strawberries, and I know there was one more. This is when we lived in the most recent apartments.
I got you.
We had the little
The onion is
nursery.
the one that.
Really took the cake.
Yeah, because the onion was just like it survived. It
It's
was
low
super
maintenance.
strong. It was very easy,
Yeah,
and it
and they
was
grow
super easy
really
to. Yeah,
big.
just you wash a little bit, just chip,
Hmm.
like cut it right onto your food.
Yeah, that was really. I love that part.
Yeah.
Just like go right back, right out on the balcony where we had it set up in that little pop up greenhouse we had, and just snip snip.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, that little bit of onion was almost too much for us. Like,
Yeah, we had a lot of onion.
we had so much onion.
I shared onion because we were growing specifically green onion. So all of it was that we used was above soil. Um, but even then, I kind of gave up on that because I don't remember what happened, but like everything started dying so fast.
Hmm.
And I was keeping up with watering, turning the soil because you have to turn the soil to keep it fresh. Whenever you have it in pots like that, because you don't have critters going and turning it for you. And I didn't have worms either working on it, so I had to do it myself. You know what I think it was? I think when I set it up for Catmageddon, um, I wasn't physically engaging with them enough.
Well, when you say set it up for Catmageddon, I need you to set the time, set the place. Let's hear it. What is
the
Catmageddon?
the background on Catmageddon. We have two cats. We've had them for quite some time now, and they always destroy my freaking plants. Well, I decided to fight back with shish kebab sticks, the disposable ones,
Mm-hmm.
and the wood. So I essentially set up like an entire fence line
Yes, you did.
sticking outward to make sure that they would get a good sticking if they try to get into my plants. Well, they started getting smarter. They started reaching over the the fence line.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to plant some mines of smaller toothpicks in the center areas. But yeah, man, the freaking cats. But that's why I called it Catmageddon, because it was a war, an apocalypse on plants by the cats. Um, but homesteading, our journey to homestead has in my opinion, has officially started.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're planning, we're learning, we're testing. Um, I think we have made 3 breads now. If you count the sourdough starter, it's 4. and then I'm about to make
That's
another
not
one
bread.
that's coming
That's a start.
this Friday. It's gonna take a minute. It says it in the directions, in like every third sentence. It's like be patient. It tells you. It
They're talking
says,
to you specifically.
yeah, yeah. But I think I'm okay with being patient for this because I'm working on so many other things.
Mm.
Like I'm really pushing to learn as much homesteading as possible. This is my mission right
What
now.
brought you to get interested in homesteading in the first place? Because I mean, set the stage. You know, you're from New York, went down to Florida, lived in like the
City.
city of Florida for a while, and what? I mean, even here, like we still live in the city. So, like, what brought on homesteading with such a passion?
I hate living in city. Like right now, it's not. I never get them right. Rural, suburban, urban. But this is not. Is it urban
It's the
when you're deep
suburbs.
city? So it's suburbs. So it's urban, suburbs, rural, right?
Yeah,
Is that the order of it? Like the
yeah.
further out? Okay.
We're like in a
We're in the
small
suburbs. We're
city. We're in
rocking
a
the
town.
suburbs. Okay. But uh yeah, we're in the suburbs right now. But, I was born in an urban setting.
Concrete jungle.
Yeah. Um and I lived for the about first 11 years of my life. I lived between concrete jungle and the boonies, the Poconos.
Yeah, and that's just straight forest, pretty much, right?
At that
Mountains.
moment, yeah, because I
Yeah,
know
at
that
the
a
time
lot
frame.
has changed
Hmm.
since I left. But when I was growing up, I mean, like the nearest diner was 15 minutes away if it was a clear weather day.
In the Poconos.
Yeah.
I say because New York, you
Like
take
I
two
literally
steps,
would
you
step out of
throw
my
a rock.
building and there's a cucho frito right there. And for you guys that don't know what a cucho frito is, it's a Puerto Rican diner, like quick grab and go what you want. There's always something ready to eat because New York is a never sleeping place.
Which is
But
just hilarious, though. Just a terrible name.
yeah,
Because I
but
mean,
I know.
like, why? Why?
Coochie.
Yeah,
I'm
everyone
sorry.
knows what
Should
coochie
I
is.
censor that out later or
No,
no? Just
everyone knows what
let it ride.
coochie is, right?
Um,
And then frito is fried. So what?
yeah. Um, the thing is, and when I say 15 minutes away, the diner in the Poconos, that was by vehicle. So I should specify that because people are always like, "Well, did you walk?" No. If I had walked, it would take a long time to get there, because a lot of it is different terrain and elevation.
Yeah,
Like the elevations was constantly changing on your routes where we used to live. So even though I lived in the Poconos, um, I heavily associated with New York because of the whole like sharing parents and like trying to set footing. Either way, I hate city living. Moved to Florida. We lived in Altamont Springs. Um, actually, we lived off of OBT first. I think it was
mm,
Kirkman, Kirkman and OBT. It was like that area.
yeah,
We didn't know what we were getting into.
yeah.
Um, lived there, and then we moved to Altamont Springs. Altamont Springs, I really liked it because of who I had in my circle. But whenever I left my circle, I wasn't a fan.
Mm.
For one, I didn't have free range. Even as I got older and like mid-teens, like the other teens were walking around the town and they were allowed to walk down the street to Costco and grab a pizza together. I wasn't allowed to do that. Um,
Can't relate.
I know, left at home.
Yeah, I was just in prison. Okay.
But I still didn't like it. It was always super hot because cities you got the pavement and it's just beating heat on the pavement and it's almost like a sauna from under your feet. Didn't like it. We moved to where did we move to? Claremont? Is that where
Hmm.
I moved from? Yeah. So I moved to Claremont, and that was the sticks. That was orange groves. And apparently, when we moved there, um, like a good 70% of the orange groves were already taken out
Yeah,
for housing.
yeah.
Um,
Claremont was already like I wouldn't say mid-sized city, but like it was on its way. It was
that was
growing.
us in adulthood that you're thinking of, not
Yes.
when
Oh, so you're
in my
referring
youth.
even young. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
in my youth when we had moved to Claremont, like to get to some of the schools, you still had to take dirt roads.
Mm.
So it was still heavily under development, but it was still out in the sticks. I didn't like it, but I think that's because I was very upset that the change occurred. You and I were together in middle school, and
Hmm.
I was like, oh my God, I finally have someone who makes me happy in my life. And young love, and it was torn. But eventually I grew to like Claremont.
Yeah.
But by the time I started liking Claremont, heavy development laid its way, and it started becoming like Altamont, and Altamont started becoming like Orlando.
Yeah. Progress.
I know, I hated it.
That's what it
I
is.
just stop it. um, then we moved. We were like in between Claremont, because like when we got our own place, we were on our own for a while, but then different jobs, and I had to live with your mom in Daytona, and Daytona is nice for vacationing
Where she was is nice. Like where I think that
because
that
she was on the
side of
edge
the
of
coast,
Daytona.
exactly. That's a nice spot. It's quiet. You don't have all the tourists, but you still got the nice beach.
Yeah,
That's the place. I
yeah,
like that. I mean, tough after the hurricanes though.
yeah, yeah. Heartbreaking. That could be another podcast or this one. I don't know. But so we were in Daytona. I only liked it because I knew it was short,
Mm.
and I knew that I would eventually be rejoining you up here in the Greater St. Louis area.
Yeah.
Plus your mom made it the best, so like we had a great relationship. Blah blah blah. Um, then we moved to downtown St. Louis.
Whoop whoop. The
Horrible.
place to be.
Listen, I don't know how many St. Louis people are going to listen to this because I'm not trying to offend nobody, but coming from someone who has been in the Bronx, St. Louis is worse.
Specifically downtown. I didn't realize.
Specifically downtown,
Yeah,
yes.
I didn't
I
realize
like the
how
Grove.
big St. Louis
It's
really
big, but
is.
like it's been, you had the house burnings. It's a historical event, and
Mhm.
the riots and everything like that. So St. Louis is a really bruised city.
Bruised is a very polite way to say it. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm hoping that it can be on the up and up sometime within the next 10 to 15 years,
Mm.
because, and that's like I'm trying to be nice about it, but it's got a long way to recuperate, and like I really like some parts of St. Louis that are not downtown. Like the Grove is one of my favorite places to be.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, like the aquarium is awesome. That whole area, like St. Louis,
well, for entertainment,
the
but I
park.
meant like feeling safe-ish.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, like the Grove and like where the college is at. Going a little bit past the college.
Hmm.
I forgot what that area is called, but I like that area too. The demographic's a little odd.
That's interesting. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
it's like there's not very much there's not many middle-aged.
Oh,
It's like
interesting.
really young, like young adults, just fresh off the Similac, and
That's hilarious.
compared to really old. And it's like, where's the in between? Or maybe it's just like whenever I would have to go in and out of those areas, I guess I just caught them at those times.
Maybe because like everyone else is like feel like the older adults are working. You know what I mean? Like
The
the
middle-aged,
35
our age
to
groups.
50. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But we were also taking public transit. So
Yeah.
I got to see different aspects of things as if I was in a vehicle. Because when you're in a vehicle, it's easy to just ignore everything. You're
Hmm.
supposed to anyway. Hated it. So then we moved out here to Fairview. Got the apartment. I liked the apartment.
It was nice. It was
Yes.
comfortable.
Inside our apartment was nice.
I think the outside was nice. I
It was
love the goose
okay.
poopy.
I didn't care about goose poopy. I was always like goose poopy, but it was too congested for me. And I don't like having people.
Is it because of the cars?
So
Like the parking
yeah,
situation?
I think because of the way the buildings were designed, it left a lot of room for error
Mm.
with overpopulation in our spot of the apartment complex. Because I noticed that if you kept going around, it was a little better designed. It was just the two loops, ours and the one overly congested.
Interesting. I thought it was fine. As
Ups
far as
and
like,
downs.
yeah, like as far as parking can be.
If I had to go back, I would.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the apartments that I was like, I really, really enjoyed living there.
Hmm.
And now we have this place, a home that is just like downtown St. Louis.
You're
without the safety issues.
hilarious. You're
Well,
so funny.
Without the human safety issues.
So what she means is
Our house is falling apart.
we got a fixer-upper,
A fixer-upper.
and she
We
doesn't
have to gut
realize
this place.
what a fixer-upper is.
No. Okay? No.
That's what this is. It's
This
a
house
fixer-upper.
shouldn't have passed inspection.
Maybe. I'm not going to
maybe.
disagree with that.
We've had numerous
Maybe.
contractors say this. I'm pretty sure if we were to try and put this house up for sale after like I repair the hole in the
Mhm.
garage, we wouldn't be able to sell it.
Maybe.
unless
That
we
very well
we
could
pay
be.
someone off. But not for nothing, this would be a solid place to learn, or I should say, to continue learning and begin homesteading. We have a decent sized backyard to start with the smaller things, like
Chickens.
well, yeah, like a small chicken coop. If the city allows goats, then I would probably get two goats.
Really?
Oh,
No
absolutely.
way. We do not have space for
We have
goats.
space, especially once I cut those two trees in the back that are causing termites.
Goats is crazy.
Goats are crazy, sir. Grammar.
That's hilarious. I remember back when I was in elementary school, I had a friend, and he was my friend for a while through high school too. But his family had like chickens and animals and stuff like that, and I thought it was like the most interesting thing because no one.
Was that in the varsity circle or was that the other one?
It was when I lived in varsity.
The
Like
one
we
with
were
the
still
rooster?
friends. Yeah, but he wasn't my friend. Like that was someone else.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm talking about Edgar.
Yo, how many people you got that have roosters and chickens and stuff?
Well, we listed two, so I mean, Florida's a
Yeah,
big
I'm
state.
sorry.
Yeah.
That was like so like woo.
But yeah,
You
yeah,
know what though? A
there's a
lot of
lot.
people in Florida had chickens, but Florida is also very agriculturally friendly.
It is. Yeah.
So, in places that aren't HOA regulated, pretty much, because even in some of the cities that don't have HOA, code enforcement doesn't really get on you so long as you maintain and contain your animals.
Mm.
So, don't have your roosters hanging out in the front yard like your neighbor did in varsity. That rooster chased me so many times.
Hey, you deserved it.
I hated it. I was scared of chickens because of that rooster.
That's hilarious.
But no, I'm actually really confident. I do have to get over a lot of fears because, as you know, I'm terrified of horses.
Yep.
So eventually, when it gets to that time, I'm a little scared of mules because they're just small horses.
That's
Um,
hilarious.
but they have a funny laugh. So I would like to get over these fears to be able to have them part of our farm fam, or I should say our
Farm
homestead
fam is
fam.
funny.
Farm fam.
What? Can you define homesteading? What
No,
exactly?
well, not um, not to the key. I most recently learned that there is a difference between homesteading and farming. And homesteading is on a smaller scale to supply yourself and your community, but not to a large scale.
Okay.
Whereas farming, your your goal, your how you say, your objective is to supply on a large scale.
Hmm.
So, it's mainly like a level difference.
Oh, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've learned that recently, and I think I also am more excited to do homesteading now that I know it's not so big.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
I get that.
like
What
also in the process of canning, and I didn't realize that um, it is very scientifically driven.
Yeah, because it's all about the bacteria and it's all controlling like the air
Yeah.
inside.
Like I need more tools to be able to do it properly. So so far the canning that I've done is the methods are relatively old.
And you're doing through mason jars, right?
Mason jars and vinegar. Whereas modern canning is they have like a kit with a chemical balancer and stuff like that. And um like eventually I'll get there. But it's because of our budget. I gotta work with what we got.
I don't think so. I think if anything, you should go the low budget route. That's the point of
I'm going
homesteading.
to do a mixture of both. And
Okay.
the reason why is because in the event that consumer products are not available to us, I need to know how to utilize what is around me before I try to outreach to try and buy to someone else,
That's
or
what I'm
maybe
saying.
it's not
That's
even
that's the low
available.
budget. I think that's
Yeah.
that's the way you should
Like
do it.
that's why I'm making the mead the way I'm making it.
Yeah.
Because like
Although I
they
think you
sell
used the
mead
wrong
kits and
yeast.
stuff like that. It says active dry. It said don't use instant.
Hmm.
But I did put it in too early because you're supposed to, according to the recipe I was using, I was supposed to wait until everything else was mixed
Oh,
and then add the active dry yeast. But it also depends on what recipe you're trying to go for.
that makes sense.
So it's going to be a lot of work, and I would love to have a teacher that I can shadow for a couple few hours of the day. That way I can like still have a good home balance. But
Have you reached out? Like, have you seen if anyone in the area does
not
homesteading?
just yet, not yet, because I want to. I have my name in the hat for a couple of job positions, and that's gonna determine whether or not I go the apprenticeship route or I work and solely focus on working for a while. So I have a lot of things on the stove that I'm waiting to see what boils first.
Gotcha.
I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah, I
It
get
made
it.
sense in my head.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
Okay.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but homesteading, I'm so excited. I've had mixed feelings for this year. This year has just started,
And
and
it's gonna be awesome
we've already like jumped into so many
because
things
that's how it is.
unintentionally. Because did any of us say like this is my goal right now?
What, homesteading?
Yeah.
No.
Before I listed it out over the weekend, right? Because like we started first week into January, um, starting homesteading practices.
No. Just jumped right in.
All of us were participating, making butter, jam, bread, and like, holy cow! I've been listening to YouTube videos and podcasts on homesteading tips and tricks and learning about the different vegetations that because if we're homesteading we're not going to have the luxury of having something whenever we want it. We have to go based on seasonal eats.
Yeah.
So that's something I have to get into the used to. I mean, we're definitely going to lose weight because we won't just be eating anything anytime whenever we want.
Yeah.
But I think it'll also give us a good value for it. And I'm really excited. I'm nervous for this year because of, things that are going on in our country. But I'm also extremely excited because of what we're doing here in our household. And I'm really driven to get our family on a healthy track. And I think homesteading is really going to help us, especially get back to like our roots
Yeah.
of just valuing things and being a little bit more connected with the earth.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I'm all about it. Literally, when we do the homesteading stuff, it's just like, hey, Beck, tell me what to do. I think it's tell me what to do. And I'm like, all right. And
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. You and Zoe are like, yes, chef. Yes, chef.
That's the play.
But I mean, we all work so well as a team. And I think if we keep that practice going, even when we do have more land or whatever we got going on, I think we're going to be just fine. Maybe not, like, or I should not say maybe not. I was going to say maybe better.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I went in the wrong direction with my words, but I meant the good direction.
You're good. You're good. Can you tell me when you were younger, what were like some of your goals? Like
When
as
I
far
was
as like when
younger,
you're like as an adult, like what did you
give me
want?
an age because it'll help me like understand
No,
where I should be
I'm not
pinpointing.
giving you an age.
Well, you said younger, so I thought kid,
That's
like when I
fine.
was 8.
That's fine. When you were 8, what did like when you were an adult, what did you want that person to look like? Did you have those thoughts, those ideologies?
So when I was an adult,
Yeah, what did you want to look like as an adult? Like who did you want to be as an adult?
um, I mean, if we're going back to like my original goals, I wanted to be a police officer and
Hmm.
in the military. Because at the time when I was a kid, I didn't know you could do both. I didn't know you could be an MP.
Yeah.
Um, but I do remember my uncle had a Air Force poster from I don't know where he got it from, but he had it hanging up in his room, and I was just like, "That's a jet. That's so cool." And it said Air Force on underneath it, so I was just like, "I'm gonna do that." And as I got older, I think it was not even that I got older. It was like a year after I found out how to wear glasses, and I was like, "Well, there goes that idea."
As far as being a pilot?
Yeah. So, I was like, man, I really wanted to do that, and he explained to me, there are different things you can do in the military. So, if, like, just make your military your goal for now, and then as you get older, you could change that. Clearly, that did not happen. The military. Um, but my secondary goal was to become a vet. Do you remember? I was like, I freaking love animals.
Hmm.
I want to become a vet. Which, when I was a kid, I used to torture animals, and things weren't looking good. And then I learned how to love. That was my main problem was I didn't know how to love.
Can you be a little more specific as far as like what animals and what do you view as torture?
Um, like I had a cat and I put it in a bleach bucket. And my mom had a chihuahua and I locked it in a cupboard for 8 hours. So
That's my little psycho.
that is torture. Because even though I was like 7, it's still bad. And everyone thought I was going to be a psychopath. Um, but you remember the stories, like what was going in my childhood.
Hmm.
So eventually I learned you can't do that. This is before I knew it was bad because my life was bad. I didn't know what was good, what was bad.
Yeah.
So when I learned the hurt that I was causing these animals, it was like a 180 degree that I made with animals, and like now I can't even put a freaking worm on a hook when I go fishing.
For real.
I have to use
Full
dead bait
180.
or fake bait because like I feel so bad. Because I know like they feel everything, and then, like they're not just these beasts. Like they have emotions, so that's why I wanted to become a vet for a while. And the first college I chose, uh, they got like some sort of raid the week that I was about to sign up with them. They got raided with the like I think it was the FBI or something for fraud.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
they had
Ross
fraud.
College.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Ross College out in Altamont, or I think close to Altamont. And one of the recruiters were like, "No, that didn't happen." And I'm like, "I've literally drove past your school and everything's caution taped off." like,
That's hilarious.
what are you talking
That
about? Like you're
recruiter
all
trying to
over the
get you.
news. Like
Yeah,
no,
that's hilarious. Yeah, that recruiter trying to get you at the end
they
there.
really were. So I know I had changed my goals numerous times to try and fit the changes in my life.
Hmm.
And you remember I really tried for the military multiple times.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that was my biggest like door slam in the face. Like this isn't going to happen. Let it go.
Mm.
So went for MA. No, well, originally I went for MOA, medical office administrator,
Yep.
and I loved it, but I was bored. And I was like, I really like working with blood. Like phlebotomy was my favorite class. So then I switched to MA. And I only passed the MOA part of my
Credentialing test.
yeah, because like I did my 2 year degree in associates, and I passed all of my office administrator stuff, and I did not pass my MA part.
Mm.
Yeah, which was weird because I was like, man, I got this, and then I did so bad.
It happens.
Yeah. Even my professors were upset because they were like, "You do all the procedures right." So like, what it was anything that involved math, which was a lot of it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I thought you weren't bad at math.
It it's simple math I'm good at.
Okay.
It's simple math. But when it came to like doing the measurements and like the like going from metric to I don't even know what it's called now.
But like weighing it, like when you're like reviewing, like this person weighs this many kilograms, and so how would you cut the
I was
medicine to give to
horrible
them?
at it. I was
I got you.
horrible at it. And then I remember one of my mentors was like, "This bottle has 5 milliliters in it.
Hmm.
Even if you take some out, it will always be a 5 milliliter bottle." And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, if you just took medicine out, how is there still 5 milliliters inside the bottle? I didn't understand what she meant by that. She was a nurse for like 40 years, but like, I didn't get it. I did not get it at all. And my bedside manner was really bad.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like on the test or like in person?
No, in person in my internship.
Why do you think? Like what happened there?
Like I was pregnant, if you remember.
Hmm.
I was a week away from delivery. You do you not remember that?
Yes, but what does that do with your bedside manner?
So while I was pregnant, I was falling asleep at my desk. So like if it wasn't busy and I wasn't with a patient, I was in the little desk
Okay,
area.
what does that have to do with bedside manner?
I was falling asleep, man.
That's not has anything to do with bedside manner. Were you
Uh,
nice to your people, like your patients?
Most of them, except for the kid that kicked me in the stomach.
All right, well there you go.
Like I didn't do anything to him, but I made a face, and I like he was on the spectrum. His mom told me he was on the spectrum. He kicked me in the stomach, and like I reacted, but like I was just like, "Excuse me for a minute," and I stepped out of the room, and she could tell I was pissed,
Yeah,
especially because I'm pregnant, and you just kicked my daughter in the head.
yeah,
Um,
explains a lot.
so she's a great kid. She's so stubborn, but she's great. Ah, but when I came back in, I think if I can recall this still, I think I had attitude while taking the rest of his vitals.
Oh, interesting.
So
But
I
that
think
one
I gave
person is
the
not.
well that and there was a patient with scabies, and I was like scabies. So that wasn't good.
I mean, all right, very well. I don't,
Yeah.
it seems like I don't know. When you say bedside manner, I think of interactions with patients.
Yeah.
Like that's what I
I
think
mean, they
of.
offered me a position if I wanted it
So
after
then, yeah,
maternity,
so it's not bad.
but I was like, do y'all realize how long I'll be out? I just, um, yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, I did not have good bedside manner. No one ever made a comment on it, but
Holding yourself to a high standard. Very well, sweetheart. Nothing wrong with
but
that.
yeah, everybody should. But what were we talking about? Oh yeah, like the whole
Yeah.
goals and
So what
whatnot.
about after that?
After MA,
Hmm.
I became a teacher.
Yeah.
I
What
became a high school teacher.
what brought that on? Like, what made you want to switch to education? Like, was there something in particular that you were just like, this resonates with me?
I remember at the time there was a reason. I don't remember now though.
Okay.
I think I told you something like I wanted to teach and like influence other kids that I knew. But I can't recall what drove me to that. But I knew I was very passionate about it.
Yeah.
The passion died though. And I can see why so many teachers who enter it leave so fast.
Mm.
Um it was a mixture of things. So after teaching, I moved to the IT field. I should have just started with that.
Well, go back to teaching for a second. I'm curious what like give me a little bit about like your path through teaching. Like
Path
what
through teaching in the sense of education?
Yeah, I mean like, you started it. I remember you enjoyed it in the beginning and you
Yeah.
really liked your students. Like
And then
that was
COVID
one
hit.
thing is the entire time you liked interacting with your
I
students.
loved I loved helping my students because if I had the problem children, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, she's one of those." No, literally, I had the problem children. I had the kids that failed their classes,
Mhm.
and they had to take them with me. They were constantly getting in detention, at ISS, like in school suspension, out of school suspension. Some would have them have been in juvie and arrested. Like I literally had the problem children. Then I had a handful of not problem children that were actually getting college ready, but they were taking my
Mhm.
class to take numerous classes in my class. Um, like I genuinely loved helping my kids. The problem is that they don't know where the line is.
Mm.
Like setting clear boundaries meant nothing to them. I don't know if you recall me mentioning this not too long ago, but while I was teaching, the trend of licking was a thing. That's where you just steal anything that you could possibly take. Urinals off the walls, soap dispensers, and like it's they took the stink handles.
That's funny. I don't remember licking. I remember you had brought up licking recently, like that was a thing.
Because I think something had jogged my memory and I brought it up to you.
Yeah, I remember that there was a trend like that a while
Yep.
back. I
And
don't
then there was
remember.
like a countdown to Christmas thing, and like it was show your balls or whatever and smack a teacher. And I'm just like, these kids are out of their mind.
There really was, yeah. There, I do remember that. There was a while where the kids were just buck
I told you
wild.
that the one student showed me his ass on his phone.
Yeah, I think
He
so.
had a butt. He had like a butt
Mm-hmm.
pic, and the thing is that most people were like, "Why would you let him show you his phone to you?" Because it was actually a requirement in my class. So, um, my class required frequent phone calls for those anyone who was enrolled. There was a program that you had to make phone calls to your virtual teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So phone usage was fine, and then you also had to take screenshots of your like progress notes, and there was like a verification, like yes, they made the phone call. Now show to your lab coordinator. I'm their lab coordinator. So they were always showing me something. Plus, they were very open with me. Like, Miss Martinez, look at what I did over the weekend with my family. Like, we went to pontoon boating, and like they were like we were all very good with each other. We
Yeah.
had a, we had a mutual respect for a while. But then you had some, like the one with the cheeks,
Mm-hmm.
that they were too comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this
There
is
was
why I
no
had to
line.
kick you out of my class, man. Like, we were fine until you wanted to do something stupid. I like my life. I'm not trying to get fired and go to prison for your stupid stupidity.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. Like, when kids spin a narrative that an adult did something to them, that's it.
Yep. 100%.
That's like, regardless if the adult had nothing to do with what that kid said, it's a wrap. And I did not want to get involved with any of that. So that was my last year with them. I even told him I will go to your graduation for my seniors and my next coming seniors, because I had freshman through senior.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I am not staying around. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I remember for my exit interview, the principal at the time had asked me why I was leaving. And I only told her my husband has a new job opportunity and so do I. But I should have just been upfront and been like, these kids are out of control. That
Yeah.
principal was my principal when I went to the same high school.
I was gonna bring that up. That was your high school.
And I should have just been straight up with her, been like, you have kids running rampant, showing their bits. Like two teachers.
Yeah, stealing stuff off the walls like
The fights
crazy.
were like, there weren't fights like that when I was a student there.
Hmm.
We had an occasional fight, maybe once a month, maybe once every 2 months.
Yeah.
But there was fights every day throughout the day. Like it became like WWE, but like actual hitting.
Yeah.
And it was just horrible. So I'm like, I don't want anything to. And someone stole from my car. Like, do you remember I called you and I was like, Zoe's daycare money is gone. I had
Mm.
just taken out that morning, but I had to wait to go drop it off at the daycare.
Yeah.
So they took her daycare money, and if you're a parent, you know how expensive that shit is. So it didn't help that the freaking admin who was helping, or I should say, air quote, helping my case, her first rebuttal was, "Why would you leave it in the car? I shouldn't have to worry about this on campus."
Yeah.
And my vehicle is always locked. So that's why I left teaching.
Gotcha.
These kids are wild.
These kids are
These kids are
wild.
wild. And you know my volunteer history. I've always been one to like jump in and assist others.
Hmm.
And I've always been like, all right, if you need help, I got you.
Yeah.
But fuck that. I'm sorry. Drop the F-bomb, but I'm good. I'm golden.
I gotcha.
My kids need a mom first.
For sure. So, all right. And then after that, it was IT.
Mhm.
Tell me about that.
I think what drew me into IT was when I was helping all the technology stuff over in the high school.
Yeah.
So, and I've always been a techie.
Hmm.
Like once I was introduced to the computer, I didn't have free reign as a kid with the computer. I was allowed to play like pinball. You remember the classic pinball
The best game.
on the
Yeah,
Windows?
I remember.
And I was allowed to use that, Paint, um, Notepad, because we couldn't afford Microsoft, the Office and like Word and whatnot.
Microsoft Office is expensive.
It's expensive. Like
Yeah,
we had it for so long because we got the student stuff and through
absolutely.
work.
Yeah,
But
it's pricey.
yeah, that's expensive. So I used like Notepad, and then when I had some grace, I was allowed to use MySpace,
Ooh.
coding without even realizing it, because MySpace really had us freaking coding, man.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't do MySpace like that because
No.
I did your MySpace.
Yep.
So yeah, like to put like the new backgrounds and stuff like that. It wasn't as simple as you can take a picture and click a button that says set as background.
Mm.
No, it wasn't like that when I was using MySpace, and the music too. So for one, I illegally downloaded music.
Arrest her. This is it. We've been waiting for this moment.
It's in my past. But like I was using like BearShare, FrostWire, LimeWire. So of course our computer had all the viruses.
LimeWire.
And I would go ahead and like try and get them on my MySpace.
Mhm.
Tell me how I was doing this, but I had no idea what YouTube was for like years.
Yeah. Well, YouTube wasn't popular yet.
It was.
Mm.
Because
Okay.
by the
I
time
didn't
I
know
was using
YouTube.
MySpace, YouTube was out. And like our teacher, Mr. Imhoff,
Mhm.
the science teacher,
Yeah,
he
science
kept
guy.
telling me, go on YouTube and look up this. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. So I was searching my TV guide for YouTube.
That's funny.
Like he really thought I knew what it was. But from there, that's when I dove into tech. And like I got more curious. I was disconnecting things from the computer because I want to know what goes where. And honestly, it's not that hard. People make it seem so hard. They're all color coordinated and shaped.
That's funny. Well, when you say it's not that hard, what specifically are you talking about?
Basic computer connections.
Okay, like HDMI, like
Yes.
the AV cord.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
and at the time it was VGA. Your starts with a C, and I already forgot what it's called. But it is a visual input. You had your AV line, so your mic, your speaker, keyboards, and like you match up the shape and color. It's not that hard. If you had a box with blocks that went into the holes and you did good with that, you could do good with this.
Yeah.
Basic desktop support right there. You know how to restart a computer? You got the job.
Pretty much.
But I started getting more curious about computing.
Mm.
And I'm not a Minecraft user. Because like Minecraft, you do like you can code in Minecraft. I don't know if you were aware of that.
I
It's not
didn't.
just building, but you can code in it. If it wasn't for the graphics, I would play it more. But from there, I was like, oh my gosh, I really like the idea that I can go into the back of a computer, not physically, but in the software and the hardware, the programming, and it's like seeing digital housing, and
Mm.
it's kind of cool. So I got a little more curious. I'm not one for coding, but that is what piqued my interest to begin with. So from there, with assisting with stand like simple things such as provisioning in the high school to diving deep into building sets and programming them from like fresh off the drop. Excuse me. Um, that really caught my attention. So got the degree in that, and then
And
moved
what
on to
degree
the
was it?
casino. My degree, my master's degree,
Hmm.
information technology. So it's a basic of basic, which is useless.
I already told you it's not useless. It's
It
just
is
you
useless.
don't.
You know how many employers I have talked to that are like, it is useless?
It's not.
All of them.
It's not that it's useless. I'm
It's the
telling you.
certifications they're looking for. They don't even want a
It's because
master's.
of the positions you're applying for. I've explained to you the way the college system works. A master's degree does not help you unless you have the actual experience to back it. It's not going to open any doors by itself. It only improves the chances
You know that
of what you
Google
already
job I
have.
interviewed for?
Uh-huh.
I didn't need a master's.
I know.
They were looking for the certs and experience.
I'm sure.
That's it.
Yeah. Those are more beneficial for the positions that you're looking
Don't
for
go
right
to
now.
college. I'm
Nah.
kidding. I'm just kidding. You know, make your best decision. But yeah, went into tech.
And then so walk me through your tech career. So obviously at the school you were doing a lot of tech stuff. Like you were assisting with the library, you were assisting with, just like standard kind of computer, nice little like gateway in. And then what was like your first full IT job?
Casino Queen.
And then all right, so walk me through that. That was network support.
Oh wait, was it? Yeah, because CVS was CSR, customer service rep.
Okay.
But no, Casino Queen. That was my first official IT job.
Yep.
Yeah, as a network support technician.
Walk me
No,
through
wait,
network support.
network support engineer. Um, so it's in the name. Anything involving the network, i.e., internet, getting connected, making sure that you are always in connection with, excuse me, your servers, your hosts. When you say walk you through, like you want me to get to the nitty gritty of the computer aspect or just the career? Like, what did I do on a day to day?
Both. Whatever. I'm here for you.
We'll go with the day to day. I'm not about to do a sermon. So you're like your day to day. Honestly, a lot of it is just people are not that bright. Um, and I know I sound like your standard jerk of an IT person, but you know how many people will call us not knowing how to restart a computer? Or they tell me that their computer's not working and it's not turned on. We have had this conversation before on a podcast. I'm pretty sure we have.
Hmm.
Um, it is baffling. And when you watch someone use a computer that they say they know what they're doing, it makes me just stand there with my mouth open. Like you can't make this shit up. I remember I asked um how should I put this? Let me just say a female. And I think she was like late 60s. I can't remember her age. I asked her to go ahead and restart her computer. It's a desktop computer, meaning it's not a laptop, it's not a tablet. It's a big old block. For those who don't know what a desktop is, it's a big old block looking of a tower, and it's got a bunch of cables coming out the back. I asked her to restart it. Do you know what this woman did? Take a wild guess.
Unplugged it.
She unplugged it. How did you get that? Did I tell you this already?
Maybe, but when I think of an old person that is trying to restart something, you unplug it and then you plug it back in.
That's exactly what she did.
Yeah.
And when she unplugged it, she was like, "Did you hear it? Did you hear it make that sound? It's something's wrong with it." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, you just cut off its life." So when she got it back on, like I showed her how to properly restart and how to properly shut down. I'm like, you don't want to unplug this. This isn't, it's not like it's a microwave from the 70s or something
Yeah.
like that. You can't just do that to these machines, because what happens is that's an improper shut off,
Hmm.
and you can fry your motherboard. So you don't do that.
They're like, no worries, I'm a grandma board.
Stop it. So she did that, and I'm Like you're up there with the executives. Why are you this dumb? Like why? But um, a lot of the day to day was just very easy tickets. Tickets in the sense of help desk tickets. So needing to restart their computers. Um, they say that their Wi-Fi is down. It's been turned off. Or someone unplugged the Ethernet cable trying to plug in a phone charger.
Hmm.
That has happened. That it doesn't even match. But there has been some times, like when I cost the company some money.
Oh, with Brightsign?
Yeah, with Brightsign, where I shut everything off. Brightsign is such a stupid, um, not necessarily a stupid company. They're just their setup is stupid,
Mm.
and because they're not even close to our time zone, because they're across the globe, you can't get anyone on the phone the same time that you're working. And then they don't have a direct number. So you have to email them. And then they'll only call you if you pay a $400 fee. And that only gets you 1 hour of assistance. So I hate that.
That's actually more common nowadays in business.
It's awful.
Yeah, businesses aren't putting out their like any way to for phone numbers. It's all either chat with an AI or you send an email and wait
And
for a
they didn't even
response.
have chat with an AI. I would have settled for chat with an AI. It was just email this for assistance.
Mm.
And it's no immediate help. It says on the bottom of their page for immediate help, say contact this email instead, and you have to follow these guidelines in the email and put the subject so that they know. They don't get back to you for like 24 to 48 hours.
Sounds pretty immediate to me.
That sounds awful. Worst customer service I've ever experienced, and that says a lot.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But no, it's not that hard. On my last my last day with them, while I was pregnant to Ella, funny. While I was pregnant to Ella on my last day with Casino Queen before maternity leave, I provisioned a new lineup of computers. That was the most exciting, like w- like work related work that I got to do with them because that was also my first time um doing a provision like that.
Mm.
So, and it was crazy. You would think that I was running like a hacker ring if you had saw inside the IT office. Because what I did was I set up a bunch of towers connected to multiple monitors along my desk, and I had a fairly large cubicle
Hmm.
with a wraparound desk. And then there was a second office, which used to be surveillance. I don't know if it's surveillance anymore. I put a bunch of them in there and had them all in monitors. That's why I'm like, you would think I was running a hacker ring because of what I was doing. Um, and after the first couple, um, put them on a flash drive to make provisioning go even faster and just stuck them in and just did the prompts as they went, which eventually helped me with my IT job way later down the road for the school and
Hmm.
repairing the Chromebooks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was I didn't realize I was doing IT stuff before my IT job with Casino Queen
Yeah.
because even with the high school, I didn't realize I was doing IT assistance when I worked for the elementary school when I was pregnant to Zoe.
Yeah.
Um, and then a little bit with McDonald's because like our terminals would always go down and our credit card readers and stuff like that. So I would work on those before I would call IT because they would also charge the store. I don't know. Trial by error.
I got you.
It's most of my life.
Yeah. Well, so would you say that like when it comes to IT, because IT is such a massive field, and I
It's
think that's one thing that people don't
huge.
understand
Yeah,
is
you
that
kept sending me cybersecurity jobs to apply to. I'm like, this has nothing to do with what I
you
know.
told me that if I saw anything while I was going through and looking for my own
Yeah,
stuff,
but I
to
meant
send it
like
to you.
something that's related to my
But the
knowledge.
thing is that
You didn't know.
no, it's not that. Like I understand that network support is your like what you're most interested in right now. And is that still the case? Like I was gonna get to this. Like, would you say that network support is the thing that you're the most passionate about in IT?
Yeah, I guess.
Or is it just that you have the most experience in it?
Sure.
Well, those are two parts to the question. Because I'm curious, like if you like what is the thing about IT
I
right
think I actually
now?
prefer hardware.
Okay, so hardware is the thing that you're most
Yeah.
interested
I
about.
like working with my hands more. And I know people are like, well, that's the same with networking. Well, a lot of it is on the screen, and I don't fancy that all that well.
Hmm.
Whereas I really enjoyed building and repairing. So that's what I meant by I like working with my hands more. Now, if I had gotten that job with Google with their networking, because that's what the position was for,
Hmm.
I would have worked with my hands quite a bit because they run fiber cables. And the servers, you have to go and you have to around with them. It would have been a new experience with me for me though, because like they're on a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Like, I give props to Casino Queen because that's where I got my official start and my legs in IT. But they're living in the Stone Age compared to Google.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, Google's whole job is that, as opposed to Casino
It's a
Queen
search
is,
engine.
yeah, it's just a part of it.
Yeah, but I think hardware would probably be my niche if it was actually a field. It's not a field of its own.
Yeah, I was gonna say like hardware is tough because the thing about hardware is that it's connected to
It's
something.
always meshed in with what it's related to.
Yeah.
So, like if
So
I could just do hardware, that'd be nice.
yeah, but
Like you
you
remember
can't.
Bex Fix LLC?
Yeah.
It's still technically a live company that I've got going on under my name, but I don't have anything going for it.
Well, like
So,
no, yeah, no clients for it right now.
yeah, because I would have to buy parts and keep them stocked
Yeah,
to be able to have a client and like get my name out there and stuff like that. But
I got you. So I mean, but if hardware is the thing you're passionate about, are you talking about like you break I fix kind of thing? Like, is
yeah,
that
yeah,
okay?
I like that. Yeah, I like. Well, I would like to do it better though because they suck.
Okay.
I'm not calling out an entire company. I'm just calling out those who kept working on your computer and did a horrible job.
I get it. I've heard that computer, the Surface Pro is really tough to fix. Like the way that it's made,
Yeah.
it's one of those things that
Are
just
you
like
calling out Microsoft?
no. The Surface Pro is just hard to like that's just an objective fact. Unless there's someone can send me
It is.
information
It is
otherwise.
difficult
Yeah, it's just one of those computers. I mean like the way the screen is set up and that was the problem was the screen was messing up. And so
on repeat because even though they changed it out so many times, it was still having an issue.
yeah. So, I mean, I don't blame them for it. But yeah, I don't know. So, but you break iFix, that's the thing that you like that style of fixing hardware, computers, phones, things like that.
Hmm.
Have you looked at
I prefer computers and laptops over phones
okay.
because the phones for the phone screens, they're so easy to break.
Okay.
Yeah, phones are very very delicate. I don't like tablet. I don't like working on tablets either. They're just big phones.
You're real picky.
I am picky because whenever I replace a screen for a laptop or Chromebook, it's got a little bit more better security,
Hmm.
like to handhold it.
Yeah.
And you know how I am. I manhandle everything. So trying to stick to areas that I'm not going to cost more than profiting for the company. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
That's
if I
fine.
can't work hardware itself, I would like to stick to networking because that's what I know. I wanted to venture into software, but I'm not entirely sure if I want that anymore.
Okay. Is it like you don't want to learn like different languages, like coding?
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a matter of the coding. Like I bombed my Google interview and I choked on everything. Like I couldn't even answer him when he asked me what a LAN was, and I know what a LAN is. But the problem is that I think when I was getting ready to interview with them, I put them on a pedestal like they were celebrities in my eyes,
Yep.
my favorite celebrities, and I couldn't stop being giddy. For
Yeah.
one, at one point, like when I had to recite my name, I said my name wrong. And I was trying so hard, like in my head, I'm like, you gotta get your shit together. Like this is the big leagues. You can get this job. And I totally tanked it. All three. Actually, no, two. Because I did well on
Googliness.
my googliness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did well on my googliness. Um, but yeah.
I got you. I mean, that's tough. I definitely, yeah, I remember we had that conversation afterwards. So I definitely remember that as far as you, you definitely put them head and shoulders above everyone else.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting.
Unnecessarily. Very unnecessarily.
Just people,
And like
sir.
they kept trying to calm me down because I was telling like I'm very nervous right now and I'm trying to calm down and I can't. They were like, we're just people. I'm like, you're Google. Like, oh my goodness. I was shaking in my chair. It was really bad.
Yep.
But yeah.
That's interesting though. That is part of like the limiting beliefs viewpoint, but not today's topic.
Yeah. Now I know I probably can't meet, The Rock. 'Cause, I love The Rock.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I would probably piss myself.
That's hilarious.
I never thought I would ever act like that with someone that like I essentially respect and admire
Hmm.
because Google is. I know some people have certain feelings about Google, but Google has really made it for themselves.
Yeah. They're a company with employees who do a job. Facts.
Yeah, but yeah, I was really excited to try and get into Google because that was the Atlanta one,
Yeah.
and I got to see pictures of what it's like on the inside. I was like, oh my gosh, this place. This how would I get any work done? But like,
You're so funny.
it is so cool. It's so cool. I'm gonna try again though. Maybe not actually. It depends on where we're at with homesteading. That's why
You're
I said
funny.
maybe not.
Okay.
Because if we're good homesteading, and if I find that that's more of my passion than being in IT,
Yeah.
and also financially, like I'm not trying to be like I love what I do homesteading, but we're $1 million in debt. No.
I get that. But that's the thing as far as now is, we get to make that choice. We are in a semi okay position moving up. So now you do get to pick, hey, what do I actually want to do, not what do I have to do?
Yeah. I'm always going to think, though, what do I have to do?
That's,
Especially, I have kids and a husband to take care of.
yeah, that's not a bad thing. Like, it's not a bad thing to think, what do I have to do? But, like, you can still take a second and think, what do I want to do? And that's why we discussed, the carpentry, the apprenticeship, stuff like that. Things that are more of passions as opposed to just a job. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I have to agree. And I have to get my mind wrapped around that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what do you think about us homesteading? I know I had asked you earlier today, actually, how would you feel about becoming Amish?
Yeah, that was super out of the blue.
Well, it was out of
Um,
the blue for you, but I had been thinking about it for a while.
yeah. I don't, I mean, as far as homesteading, I'm fine homesteading. Like, yeah, I'm cool with it. Just like with the understanding that like I have a full time job, plus everything else that I do. So like with that, I mean, you've seen how tight my schedule is, and that's
Hmm.
with me trying to be more lenient and trying to focus more on things that I'm enjoying. That's what I
Yeah.
really want to
Like
focus
to
on this
do
year.
this right now, I know that you had to sacrifice some other things in your day to try and get this in here.
Yeah, but it's not a sacrifice. Just shuffling things around. But it's tight. Like as far as the scheduling, like I have to really pay attention to where I put my time. But this is something that I enjoy doing. So like, this is fun. But as far as homesteading, I'm totally fine with it as long as we have the understanding that like I have certain non-negotiables during the day that like I just have to do. So that means that you would be responsible for most of it,
Hmm.
and then when I am home, I can absolutely help you.
Which is one of the reasons why I told you ahead of time, like, I let go of the idea of having cows.
Yeah,
Cows just, they're, to say they're a lot of maintenance would be almost like undermining everything else in homesteading that it's a lot of maintenance.
yeah,
But, I need, because I'm so broken, I need to make sure that I'm not setting not just myself up for failure, but whatever I'm taking care of for failure. I don't want to neglect any creatures, any plants, my family, because like we're going to get to a point where our homestead is, um, they are our groceries, you
yeah.
know, and if I'm not taking care of them, I'm not taking care of us. So that's why I'm also like, I'll text you like, hey, you know, we should do this instead of this because I'm thinking about the long effects of it and how long can I keep it up, you know?
I got you. I mean, that's fine. And if you think that's the right path, by all means, like I said, you know more about the homesteading and stuff like that. What I will say is you don't have to think that far ahead. Like in
Oh,
the sense
that's,
of we have like at least 1 year that we're staying here, right?
yeah,
Which means just think of a 1 year
yeah,
time frame. Like what do
if
you want
not
to do
two,
in
but
one
yeah.
year? So that's the thing is, I don't want to say don't think too deep into the future because that is a good thing, but think about like right now, like what can we do right now, and then how can we use that to fulfill the stuff that we want to do,
Yeah.
the enjoyment side of it. But yeah, you got any final thoughts? Any
On
last parting words
what?
on life, on anything?
Um, no. What? 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 I like. I don't know. It's just usually you throw some intriguing questions, some argumentative questions at me. So I was actually ready for that. before we had started. I didn't expect you to drill down on Becca's history and mindset at the moment. So
I was just curious.
curious on what I tell you every day.
Yeah.
Now you have it on record, so you can refer to it later.
Absolutely. All right. Well, this is fun. Bye.